when we go out to eat, if the restaurant is not packed, I know for a fact that wherever we get seated, that you will ask to be moved to another table like clockwork. Within 1 minute, within 30 seconds, we'll as soon as we get situated, as soon as I take out my phone and maybe my wallet and get them situated where I want them on the table, you're going to look around and say, I think that table would be a lot better because there's a draft in here,
Here's
right?
the story. This is what normally happens. When you go to any restaurant, I don't care if you go to a diner, I don't care if you go to a 5-star restaurant, whether you have a reservation, you don't have a reservation, whatever it is. They always seat you next to other people because they don't want to have to seat you where then someone's alone and there's nobody working that station.
Okay.
I don't like sitting next to other people. I don't mind it, but it's like if you and I go to a movie, I like to sit away from people. I'm claustrophobic, number one. Number
now we
two,
have the COVID issue. Yeah.
Well, I don't want people sitting on top of me. Why do I have to sit? It's like when I would take the train when I lived in New York and I worked in New York City and lived on Long Island before I moved in. I would get in the car, the train car, and I'd get by myself. And the next stop, the whole car is empty. They have to sit right next to you. Why do you have to sit right next to me? It's this thing. Even if I go to the nail place, I go in, I say to the girl, she knows, she's like, I sit you over here. Okay. They have to bring the person, sit right next to me. So it's the same premise when you go to a restaurant. So either I don't want to sit on top of people, and number two is I don't want to sit if I feel a draft. Why do I want to sit the whole time we're eating and I have to wear a coat? So that is why. You come from a different world. Again, it's back to Oklahoma City versus New York. You will sit through, if it was snowing, if there was a hole in the roof at the restaurant and the snow was coming in your head, you would sit there and let it pile up.
I would.
I immediately would say, there's a hole. I'm not going to sit here with the snow coming in. You would say to me, oh, come on, just sit there. What does it matter?
Okay.
We're going to be out of here in an hour. Right. There's the difference between you and me.
Okay, but it's almost like an obsession.
It's not my fault. They all do the same thing.
It's like you're defective where you cannot accept where you get seated.
I'm leaving Russia. That's defecting.
Okay. Yeah, defecting. So you're like, you're going to come up with something wrong, and it might be people, but it also might be there's a draft in here.
Yes.
I feel a draft.
Why do I want to subject myself if I want to sit and have, whether I'm eating an English muffin or I'm having salmon in a nice restaurant or a diner, why do I want to sit where I'm not comfortable?
I know, but it's clockwork that it happens every single time. If it happens 1 out of 10.
What did I send you yesterday?
As soon as I brought this up to her.
Episode.
She is Lucy Ricardo. I love Lucy and Ricky. And so she immediately sends me, once I brought this up to her the other day.
There's an episode.
She sent me a clip, and you can just call it up on YouTube.
Yeah, Lucy
changes tables. Right? She changes tables.
Right.
And it's classic.
It's called Lucy Changes Her Mind.
Okay.
And they go around the table, Fred and Ethel, Lucy, and Ricky.
What do you want?
What do you want? And so Lucy says, I'm going to have roast beef. And then they all go, I'm going to have turkey, pork chops. She's like, then he says, okay, 1 roast beef, 1 turkey, 1 pork chop. She says, wait a minute.
I think I'm going to have pork chops.
That sounds good. So then she changes her mind like 4
times.
And
then everybody changes
their mind. And then she says, Ricky, this table, there's a draft in here. And that's exactly, that's what he was telling me I was. And immediately it clicked, I love Lucy.
Okay. So for the sake of this union, of this marriage, I had to early, we've been together for 20 years.
19, whatever.
Okay, I think we're close to 20. Yeah. But in the first couple of years, this started happening, and I just couldn't take it. It'd be like, this is getting scary.
Well, you get so embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed.
Because now we have to pick up everything. We have to move.
Well, I take the silverware.
They've already put the water down.
Right. I usually take the water and the silverware.
So we have to pick up everything, the water and the silverware, and move it away over here to this other table. Who cares? And sometimes people do recognize me, and I'm like,
well, who cares?
It's okay. No big deal.
Right. Wear a bigger baseball cap.
For the sake, for the compromise, you're okay, Hazel. You're okay. For the compromise that has to be made for this relationship to work, I just finally gave into it.
Just give it up.
And so now, as soon as
you stand, you don't sit yet.
What are they called? It's maitre d' or sometimes just the host, hostess, or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as they say, I've got a table just for you, on the way to the table, I have to make up my mind, get it set in my mind. This is only the first stop because we're going to make another stop.
Brutal.
And so I kind of hang for a second. And
I don't take my coat off.
Yeah, I just hang because I know it's going to come. How about, over there?
Well, why don't you do this?
Well, this is a nice booth over here. Why would we sit out?
Right, but you should do this. When they bring us to a table, then you should say, wait a minute, there's that table over there. You should just cut to the chase and give me 2 other options because we're going to.
She knows.
She doesn't care. Just give her food anywhere she'll eat it.
That's true.
You don't care about where.